evening, friends and neighbors. Or shall I say this afternoon?
Welcome back to the Denver Broncos franchise on Madden 22. I'm your host, longtime listener. Be sure to drop a like, hit the subscribe button, and comment below. It's week 14 of the 2022 season here. Bradley Chubb is going to have a breakout scenario up for grabs here against the Rams in a game that we will be simulating. So he's going to have a big day, or the team is going to kind of have a big day. That's not super likely to occur unless he manages to get like those tackles for a loss, or if he can get a sack that results in a fumble, then he's just one more big play away from getting that. But it's going to be out of our control. We won the last two in this one, so we will be simulating this game against the Rams. So let's try and set our strategy. Let's see. So Matthew Stafford is definitely, I would say, our biggest concern in this football game as far as run versus pass. I'm a little bit more worried about the pass, although they run the ball a lot, but I still think we're going to focus on the passing game. So that's that. Offensively, we will stick with blitz counter as it has been working for the most part for us. And then let's take a look at our strategy or weekly goals for this one. We're going to try and get some touchdown passes. We're going to get a bunch of first downs. We're going to throw the ball well, and we are going to get some sacks. So that's that. I'm kind of interested to see what Spencer Johnston's dev trade is. It's probably a star, but either way, the draft class that we got had a pretty high concentration of guys that had that hidden dev trade at least. And if we get a bunch of guys that are, at least star, that means that eventually they're going to be, starters for your team. As long as they stay healthy and get some reps or whatever, they're going to end up being mid 80s to high 80s kind of caliber players. Maybe better if they get a breakout scenario. So Quinn Miners is going to get another boost here. Let's go with pass protection to try and get him a little bit more balanced. He's decent enough that I think he'll be good enough to start for us full time as at the start of next year. DJ Jones is having a pretty good year for us, or at least he was early on. He's getting a little bit better there with the upgrade. We only have 11 staff points, and I think 18 is the number that we're looking for before we spend any of those. So I think we're ready to sim this game. Yeah, nothing else we need to do here. Let's advance and see if we can pull off a victory on the road against the Rams. It'd be nice to do so. Frankly, I'm kind of at the point in the season where, we're pretty sure we're making the playoffs at 10-3. Well, we just won to get us to 10-3. Now it's basically like this game against the Chiefs. What stinks is it's such an important game and we've got to simulate it. But, if we win, we're 11-3. If we don't, we'll play weeks 16 and 17, hypothetically, hoping that we win both of those. And then we'd be simming another game against the Chiefs. So let's take a look at the stats first, and then we'll come back and see if Bradley Chubb got his breakout. So come on down to week 14. The Rams, we took down 21-13. We did not throw it well, but we ran it well, and we got 4 turnovers on the day. They outgained us big time, but turnovers were definitely the difference, and we blanked them in the second half. So let's look here. Morris was just kind of okay. 14 for 26, 160 yards and a touchdown, but he was sacked 5 times. Now Stafford, 30 of 52, he was sacked 3 times and picked 4 times. 339 yards, just 1 touchdown. That is not a very good day. If you're throwing it 52 times, you better be a little bit more efficient than a 51.6 QB rating, or you're probably going to lose. Javonte Williams, had a nice day, 110 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Cam Akers was bottled up all day. Jake Funk, interesting that he's getting 9 carries. Whatever. McKissick didn't do anything for us. Really not a whole lot else going on the ground. OBJ had a nice day. Woods had a good day. I mean, all of these are going to pretty much be Rams as much as they threw it. But, you know, Sutton, I guess, a decent day. Judy was all right. Fant was okay. But that was about it. Defensively, we had Darby with 11 tackles, led the team. Let's look at tackles for a loss because I'm looking for Bradley Chubb on this list. Jones had a bunch of them. Chubb had 1. So unless he had a couple of forced fumbles, he's not going to get his dev trait because he didn't have the sacks either. Shelby Harris had a couple. Aaron Donald had a couple. Von Miller. There's Draymond Jones combining with Ramsey or with Johnston, and then Ramsey and Floyd combining. Interceptions. Who had them? 1 for Kyle Fuller, 1 for Surtain, 1 for Jackson, and 1 for Kenny Young. 4 interceptions in a day is freaking awesome. So now I want to look at forced fumbles just to see if we had any. Nope. So Bradley Chubb not going to get that breakout scenario, and I feel like that's the second time this year that he had a chance to get one and didn't get it done. But that's okay. He's still going to be a really good player for us for a while. Now, let's go back. We'll go ahead and just acknowledge that this didn't happen, but no big deal. We only got 4 staff points out of that effort. Dang it. All right. Who do we have up for negotiation here? We're kind of at the point where there are not a lot of guys left that I'm super interested in bringing back. Let's see here. Mike Boone, 27 years old, running back, and he's only a 68. He's gone. And then as we get farther down here, I'm not bringing him back. We might bring back McKissick, but I don't think it's very likely. I think he's a rental this year just to help us get through because of some of the injuries that we've had. All right, so we're ready to now set strategy for the game against the Chiefs. It's at home. We definitely have to try and slow down Pat Mahomes. Offensively, we're going to continue with the blitz counter concept. They aren't the greatest against the pass, so we've got a chance to score some points. But what we want to avoid is a shootout with these guys. Be nice if we could run the ball, but we've got to be able to move it through the air and have just a little bit of balance, hopefully. Wait, did I set the weekly goals? I don't think I did, but whatever. Not a big deal. So, Javonte Williams getting an upgrade. We're going to go power back. He's good enough receiving that I think we're okay there. So that's that one. And then I saw Spencer Johnston getting one, which is nice. Let's go run stopper. Do I know his dev trait yet? Nope. We won't get that until the off season at the pace he's going. Cortland Sutton, get better running routes. All right. Now, I think we are ready to go ahead and take on the Chiefs, aren't we? We are. Can I go in, though, and still set my goals for the week? Or do I have to do that when we did the training? Select game day goals. I can do this. There we go. Alright, so we're going first downs. Throw the football, get some sacks, throw the football. Alright. So, week 14, win. Week 15, let's actually look at the standings before we do this. We're 10-3. Are we still in the hunt for the bye? We are. We're 1 game back of the Ravens for the best record in the AFC. because they lost last week. So this game against the Chiefs, and really the rest of them from here on out, could be critical. If we could get the bye, the first round in the playoffs, man, would that be nice. All right, so let's advance. Cross your fingers and see if we can't get a win, because this is a big one in the grand scheme of things. We've got them at home, and we're playing well lately. Can our defense? Nope. 27-10. Let's see what happened. So, obviously, our offense didn't exactly light the world on fire. We did a good job defensively, but we were terrible offensively. 169 passing yards, 59 rushing yards, and we turned it over twice. That's just ugly. Mahomes wasn't even that good. 208 yards, sacked 3 times, and just 1 touchdown. Morris, however, was just bad. 11 of 22, 169 yards, so he was moving, although one of them was 61 yards. So when you consider that 21 of his passes resulted in about 100 yards total, that's just not very good. He was sacked twice, he was picked off twice, and just 1 passing TD. Edwards-Helaire was pretty good. Javonte Williams was pretty good. Why didn't we run the ball more if we were running it okay? They were spreading out the workload. Jeez. Not going to be a whole lot to look at here. Javonte Williams had the 61-yard touchdown catch, his only catch of the day. Nobody else on our team hit 50 yards. Mecole Hardman, a pretty nice day. I think he could end up being a really good receiver if one of 2 things happens. Tyreek Hill is going to have to get fewer targets or just be gone. And, Mecole Hardman now becomes kind of the go-to receiver on that team because he's got some speed. Anyway, Kenny Young, 10 tackles, 1 for a loss. We got a couple of guys up there with a bunch of tackles. So we were on the field a lot in this one defensively, just because our offense was really bad. We ended up with 3 sacks. They had 2. Just not a good day for us. Let's look at the interceptions and see who had them for them. L'Jarius Sneed and Juan Thornhill had the picks. So, disappointing there for sure. But now what's going to happen is we've got 2 games, or 3 games remaining in the season. We will play at least 2 of them. If we win them both, we'll sim that last one against the Chiefs. And that will actually set us up to where we'll get to play our first couple of games in the playoffs, which would be nice. It would be hypothetically wild card round, then divisional round, and we would sim the AFC Championship. That's assuming if every game we play we win. That's kind of how it would hypothetically work out, unless we get the bye, which at this point is not super likely. Let's look and see if the Ravens won last week. They did not. They lost. So that actually keeps that bye in range. We've got to win out pretty much to have a realistic shot at it, but we're still alive in that race. So let's get prepped for game 15 here against the Texans, who come into this 3-11. Now we're on the road against them, and this is kind of one of those trap games, but I think we should beat this team. They cannot run the ball. They're not very good offensively, period. Just 18 points a game up to this point in the season. And then defensively, they are atrocious against the run. Now, I think we'll be okay running the ball even without it being the focus of our game plan. So we're going to go ahead and stick with the blitz counter. And now let's go ahead and set some of the weekly goals here. We're going to try and get those touchdown passes again. We're going to go for some first downs. We're going to actually say rush for 150 because I think we will run the ball a little bit, especially if we get ahead of these guys. And then let's come after Deshaun Watson and get some sacks. All right. So, I've really been thinking about the future of this franchise. With Brett Morris at the helm, we have a quote-unquote franchise quarterback. I don't think there's any question about that. The challenge is, like, for me personally, I really like having a QB that is mobile. So if there is any one thing that we will do from here forward that's just not very realistic, it would be trading him to get a guy that is a mobile style QB. We might have to. It might make sense at some point if he has sort of like a sophomore slump next year and is just really bad. Then maybe we can sort of justify it, especially at the point where maybe he's to the last year of his contract and we're just trying to get some value out of him. But we'll see. I do really want somebody who can run a little bit faster than him. He's not, like, painfully slow, but he's not quite fast enough to use his legs and make some big plays on the ground as much as I would like. So we'll just keep that in mind, but I'm really just thinking out loud at this point, killing time while we get ready for this game against the Titans or the Texans, and we are there. So we're going out to NRG Stadium in Houston. The Denver Broncos at 10-4 taking on the Houston Texans at 3-11. So we go out to Texas to take on Houston. Denver playing very good football. The Texans are 3-11 coming into this one. A disaster of a season. Deshaun Watson at the helm. They look to try and just kind of maybe put a solid, positive note on the end of the season, maybe with a big win here at home against a serious contender in the Denver Broncos. They will get the ball to start things off. It's out to the 22 where they're going to start 1st and 10, and Deshaun Watson has had a pretty good season for them considering how bad this team has been, but not putting a lot of touchdowns on the board. Just 5 interceptions, over 3,000 yards, 17 TDs on the season. 2nd and 5 here, they swing it outside, and they're going to pick up the first down. Now 1st and 10, they're going down the middle. It's Jacoby Myers has that one into Denver territory at the 43-yard line, and Watson 3 for 3, 32 yards after that 22-yard strike. Now 2nd and 5, they fake the handoff, and he is just going to be leveled in the backfield. Watson with a loss of 4 on the play. That goes down as an actual run. On 4th and 8, they try a 62-yard field goal, and it is good. So the Texans taking a huge chance there. If they don't get that, Denver has phenomenal field position. They are playing this one to win. But unfortunately, here comes Denver. They're going to hit Noah Fant across the middle, and he's going to pick up 18 yards on the first play of the game. Now later on the drive, 1st and 10 from the 30. It's play action, and Jerry Jeudy is into the end zone for the 30-yard touchdown strike. That would be the first of many. On the ensuing drive, it's 1st and 10, and Watson is taken down by Draymond Jones for a loss of 8 on that sack. And then on 3rd down and 12, it's a 3-man rush. Watson can't find anybody, unable to run with it as Young was kind of spying him, and Bradley Chubb eventually going to break loose and get another sack. That would make it 4th down and 19. They would punt. Ensuing drive. It's 1st and 10 from the 43. Morris fires one down the sideline to Sutton, who makes a leaping grab in coverage. That would set up a 3rd and 1 from the 2, and Javonte Williams takes it in for the touchdown. That makes it 14-3, and it's not going to get much better for the Texans. On the ensuing drive, 3rd and 3, rolling out, that's incomplete, and they would have to punt from their own 28. Now Denver taking over. They've got 2nd and 6 at the 44, swings it outside to McKissick. A huge gain down to the 31-yard line. 17 seconds left to go in the first quarter at that point. Now 4th and inches, Denver's going to go for it. Up the middle, they have the first down, but there is a flag. It's a block in the back. That'll back them up, and now Denver going to have to settle for the field goal. It's a 33-yarder. That would make it 17-3, but the Broncos are not done yet. 3rd and 10 on the ensuing drive. It's Watson looking to throw. Rolling out. No, nothing there. Now he's going to swing out to the right. He's got a man wide open, and he sails it out of bounds. Myers can't get the feet down. They would have to punt. Ensuing drive, 1st and goal. Javonte Williams, 8 yards and a touchdown. That makes it 24-3. The Broncos still not done. Next possession, 2nd and 2. And that's Javonte Williams again. That's inside of 2 minutes to go in the first half, and it makes it 31-3. Now, the Texans do manage to add a field goal before the half, but this one is not going well. It's 31-6. Their offense has done nothing. Deshaun Watson is running for his life half the time. Denver just absolutely dominant in that first half, held them to just 128 yards of total offense. And take a look around the league, as this is the Monday night game, so we get to see all the other scores here. As Green Bay takes down the Giants, Tampa beats the Cowboys, the Bills beat the Bears, the Jets all over Miami, Pittsburgh beats the Ravens handily, the Lions beat the Colts, Saints fall to the Cardinals rather. The Patriots beat the Vikings. Bengals beat the Falcons. Washington over Philly. San Fran over the Chargers. The Raiders edge out the Rams. Seattle takes down Carolina. Cleveland over Jacksonville. And Tennessee beats the Chiefs by 15 in Nashville, as they are playing some pretty good football now down the stretch. Now 2nd and 6, with 5 minutes to go in the second half. Drew Lock in the game because the Broncos basically just know that they can win this even without their starting QB. He's going to fire a touchdown pass there. Now in the fourth quarter, it's Javonte Williams taking it in for another touchdown on the ground. That would make it 45-6. And the final would be 48-9. Texans just never got going in this one. They hit that 62-yard field goal on the opening drive of the game, and that was the absolute high point for this team, as it was just all downhill from there. The Broncos offense was just clicking all day, even with Drew Lock at the helm. In the second half, they managed to put up a total of 542 yards of offense. They win the turnover battle. They win in pretty much all aspects of the game in this one, and the Texans' miserable season continues as they fall to 3-12 on the year. We'll take a look at the stat line here, as Brett Morris was sharp in the first half, 14 of 18, 240 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. Watson ended up with 233 through the air, but was sacked a handful of times, and Drew Lock was 8 for 10 with 100 yards in the second half, including a touchdown. J.D. McKissick ran for 74 yards on 15 carries. Javonte Williams, 15 carries, 84 yards, and 4 touchdowns on the day. And then not a whole lot else to talk about from anybody else on either side of the football. Now we take a look at receiving yards, as Sony Michel led everybody with 8 catches, just 64 yards. Tim Patrick, a nice day, 86 yards and a touchdown, most of that in the second half. Jacoby Myers was pretty good for the Texans. Cortland Sutton, 4 catches, 105 yards. Brandon Cooks didn't do much. Noah Fant had 46 yards. Jerry Jeudy, 2 catches, 39 yards, and a touchdown on the day. We'll take a look at defense, as the leading tackler was Jalen Smith with 18 for the Texans. Kenny Young had 10 for the Broncos. In the sacks column, it's 2.5 for Chubb and 1.5 for Draymond Jones. And then we look at the kicking. Rosas, a nice day, 3 for 3, including a 62-yarder. Brandon McManus, 2 for 2, a couple of chip shots, and 6 extra points. The Broncos never had to punt, and Rigoberto Sanchez, 5 punts, a net average of 33.5 yards, and one of those inside the 20. But the Broncos win this one handily, 48-9. All right, so an absolute beatdown of the Texans, and now we're at the end of week 16 essentially. We've got 24 staff points to spend. As you can imagine, we maxed out our goals this week as far as what we had set, so not really much of a surprise there. I think in terms of these upgrades, we will go with linebackers, because I feel like we might need to pick one up in free agency this offseason. We'll probably get this one by then anyway, so it's not a huge deal. But that's that. And now what I'm thinking that we'll do as far as like trying to strategize our episodes here is we've got 2 games left in the regular season. I'm thinking let's go ahead and advance here. We'll see if the Chiefs win and hold pace with us. They would improve to 11-4 and be all square with us with 2 weeks to go. Um, so what I'm thinking is actually let's simulate this game against the Raiders and set up a showdown in the last. Actually, the Chiefs lost. That's big because now let's look at the playoff picture here. Um, we're actually the 1 seed. How the heck did that happen? That is nutso. I guess the Ravens are on a losing streak. They had to have lost like 4 in a row now. They've lost 3 in a row. The Titans have won 6 in a row to get to 11. They were 5-4. They're now 11-4. So look out for the Titans. They are playing very good football. But what I'm thinking that we will do here is simulate the game against the Raiders and then play the game against the Chiefs. Because there's a good chance it could decide the division. It might even decide the AFC regular season champion, especially if we win this week against the Raiders. So we're going to do it. They're 5-10. I think we can beat them anyway. We've got them at home. And that'll set us up where we just play the last game of the regular season, and we end up Deshaun Williams, you're going to just walk. You're 29 years old and you're only a 67. I don't need you on my team. And then J.D. McKissick, we will also let walk. He's going to be a 30-year-old running back who's probably going to take a serious nosedive as far as his overall ability. All right. So let's look at the weekly strategy against the Raiders here. We want to try and stop the pass. They've just been pretty bad across the board this year, offensively. For our offense, let's actually go with blitz counter, as usual. Team profile. I am kind of bummed that Brett Morris's dev trait wasn't superstar, but maybe we can get it there with a couple of, big games or whatever. Although I'm not super concerned about it, so. All right. He's doing a fine job just the way he is. Oh, I don't know if there's one other thing that I want to do. I know a couple of episodes ago we went in and adjusted sliders. We're going to take another look at this. And what I am thinking that we do, and it might have already done this. Yes, so we've reduced the QB accuracy again. I think we had it at 25. We dropped it back down to 15. We're going to leave all of our other stuff the way it is, including run blocking at 5. Now for the defense, we're going to leave QB accuracy down, or for the AI. Then we increased defense reaction time, but decreased interceptions. So again, we're trying to make it where it's harder for me to complete passes, but I don't want the defense coming away with a ton of interceptions because of just bad throws by our quarterback or whatever. So this will probably result in some interceptions that end up getting dropped. But for the most part, I'll just try to not show you those if it looks really stupid. But I'm hoping that makes it a little bit more challenging for Brett Morris to be completing 75% of his passes when we're controlling him or whatever. We'll see how that goes. There's not a whole lot else I can do as far as the run blocking. I've got it way, way, way down to where there's nothing else that I can really do to make it harder. All right. Upgrade players. Who we got? Moody. That's a big one because he's going to be my starter next year. I need him to get better at pass blocking, though. And I'm kind of bummed that didn't give him a overall boost for his power as well, but it's okay. 75 is decent. especially if you're balanced. Kendall Hinton, just get better at slot, because when you're at the bottom of the depth chart, I just need you to get better at one particular thing to where I can use you. Let's go. Yeah, we'll go with improviser. Work on the scheme fit. Get him good at throwing under pressure, throwing on the run a little bit. So, good to see him improving a little bit. He's been a lot better this year than I would have expected coming into the season. Particularly his ability to get out of the pocket and throw like on the move. He's been outstanding in that regard, and I'm really, really pleased. So Cohen's coming back. We've got 2 weeks to go in the season, and let's take a look at the depth chart here as far as running backs. I want McKissick as the number 2 guy here. But then when we go here, we'll do Cohen. I think that's all I need to do. He'll go back in, I believe, as our return guy, and he's done a pretty good job in that role, so we'll just let him keep doing it. All right, I think we're ready to go here, so let's advance. It'd be nice to get a win here to where we would control our own fate in the AFC. I think a win would give us the bye, and we freaking lost. What happened with everybody else, though? Looks like the Chiefs lost as well. Okay, so the Ravens won. The Titans lost. So I think basically what would have to happen in Week 18 is the Ravens would need to lose, I would need to win, and then I think I've got the tiebreaker over the Titans. They have me slotted above them for right now, so I think that's what that means. But that loss hurts. At home against the Raiders, who haven't been very good this year. We know that they're dangerous, but we got to score more than 14 points. Let's go back in. All we have to do here is just tell J.D. McKissick that we're moving on. And then let's go take a look at the box score and see what the heck went wrong in this one. That's a tough loss, not gonna lie. Alright. Schedule. Go all the way down here to the Raiders. Turnovers. Our offense was just really bad. 88 yards rushing, 190 passing. That's just not very good. Brett Morris, 2 interceptions, a touchdown, and just not very good in general. 19 for 35. Carr, 16 of 33 with 2 interceptions. So we did a good job of slowing him down too. No, well, there's the difference. Josh Jacobs ran the ball pretty well. Javonte Williams did not. Kenyon Drake had a touchdown. Darren Waller was pretty good, but honestly, holding him to 81 yards on 5 catches is not that bad. He's really good. Cortland Sutton, a decent day. Henry Ruggs, wasn't he on the Chargers, or was that a different? I think that might have been my Steelers franchise. Noah Fant was all right. We just weren't very good through the air. All right. Kareem Jackson led the team in tackles with 11. There weren't very many sacks. 1 for Thomas, 1 for Chubb, 1 for Max Crosby. How about the interceptions? Fuller, Mullen, Ojemudia, and Hobbs. So 4 interceptions on the day combined between these two teams. All right. Now, let's go here and just look at the draft and see if there's anything we missed. Okay. So, Stokes, QB, Duncan running back. Stokes QB, Duncan running back. And then Marco Monty, wide receiver. So Dokes, Duncan, Monty, Cousins at receiver as well. So Monty and Cousins. Who is this? TJ Bowden for Colorado, but I don't know what position he plays. Oh man, there's a bunch going on here. So who was it? We got Stokes, Duncan, Monty, Cousins, Bowden, who we don't know what position he plays. Then we've got Brewer at outside linebacker. And I think we already knew this guy. So let's go try and highlight all of those guys before we forget. So Stokes should be right at the top. Boom. So that's, I think maybe, yeah, here it is, Bowden. This is the guy that could be a, no, C is not very good. Although he might have the hidden dev trait. I don't really think we need a quarterback, but if he's there like in the 3rd or 4th round for whatever reason, maybe we scoop him up and just hope that he's a hidden gem. All right, it was Duncan at running back. Let's take a look at him and just see what he can do. C for catching is all we know there. He's got decent physicals. He's strong, so he might be very similar to Javonte Williams, just not quite as well. He's got B awareness, B spin move, A stiff arm. I like seeing A's and B's, so that might be a guy that maybe we scoop up in the 2nd or 3rd round. Wide receiver, Cousins was one, Monty was the other. We're not going to get Cousins when he's projected to go that high, but Marco Monty might be there. Let's see what this guy can do. He's 6'3", which I really like. He's got B for release, which I also really like. He's a big body, left-handed wide receiver. Interesting. The physicals aren't phenomenal, but they're all pretty good, and when he's that big, that might be a stud in the making. He's got decent injury rating. He can break tackles. I don't really care about your juke move, but that's a guy that might be a steal at that point in the draft. He might need to take a little while to develop his route running and stuff, but that could be a really good one. All right, and then I think there was an outside linebacker, Brewer. Let's take a look here. What do you got for me, dude? B block shedding, C zone coverage. He's 260 pounds, so he might be sort of a 3-4 type outside linebacker. He's got pretty good strength, great speed. Those physicals are actually pretty decent. Block shedding is good. Play recognition is good. That could be a really good pick. Now, he's the best rated left outside linebacker, which means he's probably not going to be there, especially because it's not a very deep class. But that's kind of noteworthy that he looks like a pretty good player. So we found, and that's why you look at those draft reports in the news tab, is because a lot of times you'll see some guys that are highlighted there that are very good players, even though like the scouting report doesn't really look like it, and even it might even be a guy that you draft and they're only like a 71 overall normal dev trait, but they're just like balanced and a solid player. So, all right, against the Chiefs, we're going to try and figure out a way to stop Pat Mahomes. We're going to stick with the blitz counter concept, and let's go with our normal goals over here. Except defensively, we're going to try and hold them to less than 4 yards a carry. see if we can do that. I think the secret there is going to be, we've got to keep Edwards-Helaire in check, but then we've got to make sure that Mahomes doesn't run for 30 yards on any of his given scramble opportunities. All right, so training complete. Let's get the player upgrade done here. Ooh, we got a bunch of them. Kyle Fuller. He's getting up there in age, though, isn't he? I think we only brought him back for 1 year. Yeah, he's 30, so he's probably done after this year. Kenny Young, he's turning into a decent middle linebacker, but I'm kind of hoping that we can go find a stud middle linebacker that I can plop into that role and take over that position. Javonte Williams, yeah, keep getting better at power back. Archetype. And now, are we ready to take on the Chiefs? I've got 12 staff points. That's not enough for my next upgrade. Yeah, I think we're ready. So a huge game coming up in the next episode. It will determine the division, because if they win, they will have swept us. And I'm assuming that that gives them the tiebreaker. If we win the division. And can I look at the... Let me go look at the schedule to see who the Ravens play in Week 18. Buffalo. But at Buffalo, the Bills are 6-10, but that's a team that could beat Baltimore. So we'll have to see how that goes, but I'm kind of optimistic that maybe there's a chance. Just out of curiosity, the Titans are playing the Washington football team, although it's in Tennessee, and the Titans are playing pretty good football down the stretch. So I think it's just go out and take care of business. If the Ravens win, so be it. But we got to do our part first, and then go scoreboard watch. But that is going to do it for this episode. If you have not done so already, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment below, and we will see y'all next time.
Good evening, friends and neighbors. Or shall I say this afternoon?